Let's get going. All right. So guys, we're wrapping up week one. Honestly, week one is one of the most important weeks of your entire 5-week journey with building out your LinkedIn profile. And it's because how you represent yourself on your headline, your banner, your photo, all of that. Think about it. No matter what social media platform you're on, you've got 3 seconds to captivate people's attention and convince them that you're worth taking a closer look at. So it is very important that you best represent yourself in a way that creates curiosity, that then brings your students or your prospects from the LinkedIn platform, like conversation, onto your page. So, I'm constantly telling people, let's get your personal branding on your headline and your banner right first before you get wrapped around the axle with all the other details of the summary, right? And so this week, you guys have been working diligently on your headlines, your photos, and your banner. One thing I saw with a couple of folks, you all had gorgeous photos. A couple of things to keep in mind is you really want at least 60% of your head in there. And the reason for that, let me show you guys. When you get into the LinkedIn platform, you really it's all about personal branding, just like any other platform. And what you're going to find is when you start getting into dialogue on LinkedIn and you get into making comments, your name in your head, see how Dr. Jerika makes a comment here? When you're active in your feed, your head is going to begin to start creating branding for you. So if your face is really tiny because you've got your whole body in there, when you start getting active on this platform, it doesn't create as well of a personal brand for you, right? And then the second piece is this whole this headline right here. So I like to highlight Jerika because she was a client of mine on LinkedIn. And it used to say, so Jerika she's a podcast host, she's an author, and she's a speaker, right? And classic fail, even though she's got a massive network and she's got a huge value proposition, the way she was positioning herself, this is so fun that she just popped up on my LinkedIn because she's a great example. The way she was positioning herself in her headline was for her ego, and it wasn't for her avatar. I want you to think about that. She had herself positioned for her ego, not her avatar. She had her headline, it said speaker, podcast host, author, all the things. But when and I asked her, I said, Jerika, what's the number one reason you're using LinkedIn right now? What is your value proposition? What do you have to offer people? Why are you using this platform? She said, well, I'm coaching pharmacists. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I knew that about her. She's a career pivot coach for pharmacists, and she's a consultant. She consults as a pharmacist. She consults for patients, and she consults other pharmacists on career pivoting. She had that nowhere in her headline. All her headline did was brag about her accomplishments as an author, a speaker, right? So what has she done since then? She's completely changed the first piece of her headline to her value proposition. Now, when she gets in a comment, like, okay, so this is where you guys will learn a little bit more about this later, but as you get into finding your community of people that you want to network with, so clearly she wants to consult for pharmacists. So here's an entrepreneur who's a consultant pharmacist who's doing a video here, right? So it behooves Dr. Jerika to make a comment in this feed on this post because this audience that's following this is who she's looking for as clients. Does that make sense? So when she comes in and she's making a post, her future potential avatar client is going to see that title and say, pharmacist coach, If you're a pharmacist and you're looking for some coaching and consulting, you might click on her profile. And she's commenting on the right content because it's where her people are hanging out. Does that make sense? to you guys? Okay. Maybe I can find some examples of where people aren't doing it so great. Let's see. Find some bubbles, some bubble heads. Like Kelly. Gorgeous picture, Kelly, but I can barely see your head. She's got her armpits and everything in there, right? So like, she's just like, you know, her brand, the brand recognition doesn't show up because you can't really see her face. Whereas when you look at Jerika or like Suzanne, see how nice and bold, like just how big her face is on that bubble. All right. So make sure that you are, make sure you're ensuring that your face is a nice proportion, okay? And that your headline, and guys, you'll probably change. How many of you have changed your headline like 6 times already this week? And you're like, no, right? Yeah, you're gonna keep playing with it and keep playing with it. And as you grow and you begin to grow your network, I'm gonna give you guys some scripts. The scripts are at the very end. They're in the 5th week. But one of the ways you can really start to litmus test is my headline working, is to, when people request to connect to you, one of the best things you can ask them is to say, first of all, say thanks for the request to connect. But then you want to ask them, I'm just curious, what was it about my profile that piqued your curiosity to connect with me? When you start getting the response, oh, it was your headline, I'm so curious, what is it you do? You know that you found your sweet spot for headlines, right? Okay, so your headlines, you'll continue to change and play with. Feel free to throw them in that messenger thread that you guys have to get feedback and ideas from your classmates. But mine grows and moves all the time. Okay, so questions. How often do you post about kids and family life? Because that's like a big question on LinkedIn, right? People are always like, gosh, I'm so comfortable with Instagram and Facebook and being, 100% myself, but how do I position myself on LinkedIn and not be like too personal, right? So you guys are going to get a lot of training next week on your avatar work. And I think that it will become a lot clearer for you next week how much you want to reveal of yourself in your LinkedIn, of your family life in your LinkedIn profile. Because next week we really walk through your personal branding, your avatar work. So who are you trying to attract? And your avatar work, your personal branding of what makes you unique. All of us are different, right? Like Ogena and I are both pharmacists, but we have had different career tracks as pharmacists. And he has different things he's passionate about than I do, right? And so we're each snowflakes that are, and this I'm kind of getting into my branding coaching next week, but it's relevant to the question you guys asked today, is that it depends on your avatar as to how much you feel like you want to reveal the mom life, right? So for me, it's huge. Now, it's not that I'm in there posting about my kids all day, every day. It needs to be relevant, right? But to me, the number one reason, because I liked my job, guys, but the number one reason I left my career was because I wanted to spend more time with my kids, right? But I wanted to be able to make just as much money as I did in my corporate career, but I didn't want to do it away from my kids. So I think I gave you guys the example in the training. My avatar is a woman or a man who's in their between 30 and 45. They've lived enough life. They've achieved enough that, they're able to make a good income. They know what a good income is, but they're missing out at home. Like their big driving factor is like, this can't be all there is. There's got to be more than just punching in and punching out. Like I've got to be able to make this income, but do it in a smarter way because family comes first. Now, the reality is everybody on LinkedIn doesn't feel that way, right? So when I make a post that includes my children, there's going to be some people who look at it and roll their eyes. And I read an article just today, I posted it in our group, that talked about, it was a LinkedIn article that talks about niching down. People are afraid to niche down, and I'm like totally jumping into next week completely, but that's okay. People are afraid to niche down because they're afraid that they'll exclude parts of their network that they want. But the reality is the more niched down you get, the more the right network is going to feel you are speaking to them, and they are driven and motivated the same way you are, right? So the fact that I made a post that had a teddy bear in the seat because my son forgot his teddy bear on pajama day, and I'm grateful for the freedom and the flexibility of being an entrepreneur to be able to drop everything for a hot minute and get to the school and drop off the teddy bear. For me and my avatar, it's a valid post because it has to do with time freedom, entrepreneurship, and guess what? Being a parent and balancing it all and being thankful that I have the freedom to do that, right? And I could care less about the people who read it and think, oh, that's just baloney, or that it doesn't matter. I'm trying to speak to the person who wants that freedom, that's stuck in the pharmacy for 12 hours and can't leave for any reason, not even to go to the bathroom, even though they've spent 8 years getting a degree, right? That's the person I'm trying to talk to, right? So you have to be okay with not making everybody happy, because you're going to attract the right people if you are 100% yourself. And we are going to get really into the weeds on that next week, and you're going to go through some activities on that. So hopefully that answers the question a little bit of like, how do you balance it? You know, I personally try to fold something in about my kids once a week, and occasionally they're actually even in the video. Like I've been known to have my son do the dab and introduce and welcome everybody to come join an overview on a Tuesday night, because we incorporate family, because it's a family-based business. And if you want to be able to run a business from home and have your kid in the background dancing, like, I'm your girl, right? So, okay. So hopefully that helps you guys a little bit. Now, and also whoever asked that question, I love, like, their spin on it was like, my kids and their college is like a main driver for why I'm building this, right? Guys, that is super, super valid content on LinkedIn of like the reality, the struggles are real as, you know, a parent with raising kids, with inflating prices of college and having an additional income stream while working full time to fund your children's schooling, right? That can be a piece of your brand, right? There's a lot of people in that demographic where their kids are about to go to college, right? That's not necessarily my demographic right now, so I'm not speaking to that, but that could absolutely be yours. The guy I talked to today is in his 70s, and he's just looking, he's got 10 grandkids, and he wants to be able to spoil them. He does okay financially, but he wants to make an extra 50 grand a year. So what's your demographic, right? How can you connect with them? Somebody asked about scheduling posts. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I am not the best with this. I actually just hired an Instagram marketing manager to help me market my own LinkedIn business to come over here, because that's just not my thing. But what I will tell you from a scheduling standpoint is I know that some of the platforms actually recognize that it's coming from a scheduler, and the algorithms will like push you down in the feed. So what I've done in the past, because I know, especially if you're juggling a lot, what I've done is I've used Planoly, which is designed, I think, for Instagram. But what I would do is actually plan my posts. I'll sit down on like a Sunday or Monday. I'll plan my content for the entire week. And what I liked about Planoly is you can save the photos in the app and put the content in. And then when it's time to post, you actually don't have to automate it if you don't want to. If you don't want the algorithms to pick up that you're automating and you want to play the game, if you just plan out your post for the week, when you go to like maybe every morning at whatever time, you go pull your content that you've got planned and you put it out there. But I highly suggest you're not trying to make content on a whim. Gone are the days of just like saying what's on your mind and putting it out there. Like, I truly believe, and I have built 2 businesses now, but being very methodical with what I'm about to put out and thinking it through. You know, I'm constantly saying your net worth is your net worth. And social media, for me specifically, and obviously you're on the line here, LinkedIn is your net worth. It's your net worth. How you are representing yourself on this platform right now on a daily basis, whether your personal brand is out there and you're speaking to your avatar or not, that builds your business. Every single every single human being I've enrolled in the last 2 years has been complete strangers off of LinkedIn. Complete strangers, not friends, not family, all business builders. And it's because of being very methodical about my brand and letting people know what I'm about and planning it strategically. And we'll talk more about that next week. Okay. Because when you work it, it comes back to you. Just like you guys, some of you have been very successful on Facebook and Instagram promoting product. I know I was. For a number of years, that's where I started and I focused. And the more I focused on it, the more product consumers I got, right? Now I focus on business and business branding and connecting, and I'm getting more business builders, right? Okay. So totally up to you with the scheduling system. There are Hootsuite, Planoly. There's a couple of them out there that you can look at. You can plan your posting ahead of time and it can be put out at one time. I just saw a new app called Ripple. You guys heard of Ripple? Where you can actually plan your posts for all the platforms, including LinkedIn, and it'll ripple it out to all of them at one time. Bam, 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 bam. So if you want to get super efficient. All right. Okay, so this is a good one. Let's see, Stephanie says, I use Later and it does that too. Later, so is that what it's called, is Later? Oh, awesome. Perfect. Perfect. Teacher, do we have a teacher on the line who had the teacher question? Yay. Okay, Courtney. So actually, this was in the article today. I thought it was really interesting. One of the things they suggest is if you feel like the majority of your avatar is not on that platform, think about where are they hanging out? And one of their suggestions was you can pull content from LinkedIn and post it on the other platforms in an effort to actually bring engagement over. I mean, it's kind of a backwards way to think. But if you find, you search and find some relevant articles that speak to the teachers that are an article written in LinkedIn, and you can write articles yourself. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you can search hashtags, LinkedIn works just like the other platforms with hashtags. You can search through hashtags, you can search in a search function, and you can seek content that you feel like is going to speak to your teachers and kind of bring them to that platform. But my second question would be, you said that you're finding that like teachers just don't hang out on LinkedIn at all. My question to you would be, well, first let me make the statement. I actually read this morning that the largest growing engagement on any of the platforms right now are millennials 25 to 35 on LinkedIn out of all the media platforms. So to me, that's really exciting if you're in the millennial category. And I know I'm seeing it because my target market is pharmacists and corporate professionals. And especially in the pharmacy arena, I don't know if you're seeing this, Agena, but I'm seeing a lot of young pharmacists in there, really active, open to entrepreneurship. And so I guess my question to you, Courtney, would be, is this anecdotal that you feel like you're like with your personal connections, you're feeling like there's not a lot of teachers out there? Or is this like an overarching pandemic that that there's just teachers just aren't hanging out on LinkedIn? You can take yourself off of mute. I'd like your thoughts.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate you addressing this question. I have found that I've been on LinkedIn for a while, but I haven't been using it properly, I think. And so as I'm getting back into it, I've been making tons of connections with teachers, but it's like crickets, because I think a lot of them are using LinkedIn like I did 7 years ago to get a teaching job and still have it, but don't open it up and use it at all. So I'm trying to find where these teachers are that are active on LinkedIn, or how to bring teachers, like that comment you just said about bringing them to LinkedIn to
bring them to the platform. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can even consider making your own group within LinkedIn for teachers, like a LinkedIn group forum, and then go out to Instagram and Facebook and, engage people to come over to that platform, join your group. Maybe you come up with kind of a mission for the group. You could go that route. And then also you could just take a step back. And now, what is your business? Is it Isagenix?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you could also take a step back and ask yourself, as far as your avatar work goes, are you sold on recruiting other teachers?
It's part of it. It doesn't have to be solely.
Yeah. So how long have you been in the business, Isagenix business?
3 years. And
Awesome.
I have a lot of teachers, nurses, and personal trainers.
Awesome. Okay. Who have you had like the most success with between teachers, nurses, and personal trainers?
For the business?
Uh-huh.
Teachers and personal trainers.
Teachers and personal trainers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So, so the teachers, I don't know much about recruiting teachers on LinkedIn. I think that maybe you can kind of cross engage them.
Okay.
And the same with personal trainers. There's some personal trainers that are really active on LinkedIn because that's not all they do. A lot of personal trainers have other careers too, but I will tell you, from a nursing standpoint, the activity on this platform is massive right now. Massive. I've had a lot of students come through from nursing who are recruiting nurses like hotcakes because of everything that's going on right now. Either they're furloughed or they're overworked, and everyone's looking for a different opportunity right now. So I would challenge you to kind of open your mind to looking for nurses as well, and how could you position yourself to find them, and best brand represent yourself. I know I just said niche down, right? But also know your market and where they hang out. So if you're finding that you're not getting a lot on LinkedIn with teachers right now, I can guarantee you can find a plethora of nurses.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. All right. You guys asked, let's see, there's some chat going on in the chat box. Where's the best place or website to get a good banner? Oh, Canva. Yeah, Canva's great. You can create yep. And you can use Canva for Facebook and Instagram. Well, Facebook for a banner as well. Great question. All right. Let's go. So what I want to show you guys is, see this right here? Oh, wait, no, that's document. Hang on a second. Write, it's really simple. See right here? Write an article. Do any of you guys do blogs? Are you bloggers? Yeah. So this is where you can duplicate where your work, like if you're already writing blogs and it's relevant to your brand on LinkedIn, this is a great way to double up on content and take your blog and literally transpose it into the article. What I want you guys to think about, and this is really cool, is that on social media, it's your chance, especially if you've never played in LinkedIn before, it's a blank canvas from a personal branding standpoint. What I love about it is that you choose what you're an expert at, and then you market it that way, right? So if you want to be an online entrepreneur who's an e-commerce expert, nobody says you aren't. Like there's not a degree for it, right? It's all about how you're positioning and you're marketing yourself. And if you start writing articles about the area that you're really passionate about, people will start viewing you as an influencer in that space as well, right? So Murray Miller last year, who's a top leader on my team, wrote a great article that was really just a review of the Robert Kiyosaki model of cash flow and why residual income was so powerful. And now he has that as a feather in his cap as an article, and you can cross-post it. So Courtney, this might be for you, is writing articles around residual income in LinkedIn as it's relevant to teachers, and then cross-post it on Facebook and maybe tag some of your teacher friends. Because what it's going to do is they have to go to LinkedIn to read that article. And then maybe they see their inbox, right? So that's a way to start bringing people over there, right? And regardless if they go to their inbox, they see you positioning yourself as an expert in residual income, why you're pursuing this as a teacher. And when it's a like a formalized published article, people just think you're an expert, right? Like, it's so funny. I was in a featured magazine a couple of months ago, and I've enrolled so many people from it. And I wrote the article and I paid $500 to be in the magazine. But from a perception standpoint, everybody's like, woo, like Melissa's in it. Melissa was in a magazine. She's a influencer and entrepreneurship, right? Like, I'm like giving you guys all my tricks, but like, you can write it. You can write an article on anything. And when you take the time and the effort to write it and publish it, you start to create influence for yourself and thought leadership for yourself. And the more you're in people's feed about it, the more they're going to connect you as a thought leader. So Courtney says, I know it's recommended to post once a day. How often would you recommend posting articles? Articles, great question. Articles take a little bit more work and editing and all that jazz. So you might want to work it into your repertoire like once a month or once a week, just depending on how much you like to write and where you can actually pull content from. You know, I'm bad about writing articles. My thought actually is, when I launch my podcast, is to take some of like the show notes of the podcast and actually put it into articles as interviews, right? But any way that you can duplicate what you're doing on one platform to another is good. And if you do something, like you do some education for your team, like maybe you do some education on residual income or leveraged income with your team or your business model. You know, take your notes and formalize them into articles if you've done presentations. Okay. So what other questions? I think those were the bulk of the questions that were posted in the LinkedIn feed. Let's see so I'm an open door, guys. What other questions do you guys have in your first week with your headlines, how you're positioning yourself, all that, all things?
I have a question, but it's not quite a week one question. It's
That's
more,
okay.
I've been on LinkedIn for a while. I have lots of people that I'm following or connected with, but how do I get better content to comment on in my feed?
So that's about, like, you mean, so growing your network, right?
So growing my network, because not that they're posting bad things, but they're not posting something that I might want to comment on, because when I comment, that becomes part of my feed.
That's right. Yeah. And so because the algorithms pick up what you're commenting on, and they're going to want to continue to bring more content that way. So we talk in week 3 about strategic network growth. You know, strategically looking for the right people to grow your network. And the reason we do it in week 3 is because next week we really get into the depths of your avatar work and personal branding and who it is you're trying to attract. And once you get really clear on that, it makes it really simple to search and start to connect with the right people. You have to your point, Estelle, you have to have the right set of eyes in your feed in order for your personal branding to actually work, right? So like Kayla Craft and I were talking about this the other day when she interviewed me, and she was like, well, I make posts, I was making posts on LinkedIn with my podcast, and I was getting no likes or comments, so I just aborted LinkedIn. And I was like, well, have you strategically worked your network? Like, who's looking at it? She's like, oh, I don't know. I never accept any request to connect. I'm like, like, then who are you marketing to? Like, if you have not grown your network in 10 years, like, who are you marketing to, right? And so it was a really great conversation that she and I had, because I'm like, look, you need to go back to square one and begin growing a targeted network. So I would ask you, who are you, and this is really getting into week 2, but who are you trying to attract? Who do you feel like you have the most in common with that could catch the vision that you're trying to cast?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm a physical therapist and I work in healthcare. So those are the people that I'm looking for, because I know, other than me, I went to UNC Chapel Hill and I only had $2,000 worth of debt for my doctorate. The rest of my friends have a lot of debt.
Right.
And their day job is not cutting it.
Yes. So notate that. You're probably already working on that. But that's going to be that'll be like one of the themes of your marketing brand. is that like that debt piece, right? Like that was something I spoke to a lot. It attracted a lot of professionals in getting their debt paid off, partnering with the health and wellness company, right, on the side. So what you're going to want to start doing is going into the people feed, the people field of LinkedIn, and you're going to want to start searching to connect with other people in healthcare.
Okay.
And you're going to want to bring in, I would say, at least 10 people a day into your network. Now, guys, you should know this. And I just had an idea. I've got to tell you guys about this. And LinkedIn will only allow you to request to connect with 2 to 5% of your total connections per day. And if you go over that, they'll mark you as spam and you can get blocked from requesting to connect for like a month. So so for instance, if you've got 1,000 people in your network, they're going to let you connect with like 20 to 50 people a day. So if you're looking to really go rapid speed, grow your network right now, what I would suggest you do is get the premium account for free for like 14 days and go at it as fast and as hard as you can. I think there's a 50 connection limit per day with the premium, but the premium account is free for the first 14 days and it'll give you a jump start on growing that network. Because the biggest Achilles heel I see with new students, like Dawn, you know, Dr. Nicoletta, she had like 2 people in her network when she started on LinkedIn. So then it was like the system kept shutting her down, like when she was maxing out on her requests to connect with people because she had such a small number. So you may want to, if you've got a small number, you may want to go to premium. But here's the thing, guys, go to my scripts on the 5th week though. You guys are really kind of jumping ahead. Like I personally, the reason I have the connecting coaching towards the end is I want you to be best represented from a brand standpoint on your page before you start connecting. But having said that, I don't want that to slow you down. But if you're going to start connecting, Estelle, what I would say is you always want to send a request to connect with an open-ended question, okay? The biggest mistake that I see my students before they come into my class is they work off their phone instead of their computer. The phone doesn't have nearly the function that the computer does, especially when you're sending requests to connect to strangers. On your computer, you can actually, let me show you guys. This is golden nugget, like 101 LinkedIn. Most people just operate off their phone and they'll say, oh, LinkedIn, requested, like suggested I connect with this person. So they just start hitting the connect button, connect. Like have any of you guys done that where you just start connecting? You get really happy hitting the connect button, right? Don't do that anymore. Let me show you. This is gonna create engagement in your inbox, and you're going to be like, next week you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Melissa, people want to talk to me. Okay, so if you want to connect with a complete stranger, let's see. Let me show you guys. All right, so let me give you an example. So these people apparently went to Campbell. They went to pharmacy school with me. If you're on your phone, people just hit the connect button. That doesn't start a conversation, right? You guys want to start a conversation out of the gate because it takes 6 to 7 touches with someone before you typically enroll them. So you want a personalized message. So instead of saying Alicia, instead of saying connect, sending her a connect button, I'm going to click on her profile. Man, she looks really young. Okay. Instead of hitting connect, I'm going to hit you can't do this on your phone. And you hit the more button. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. No, you hit the connect button. Here we go. No, it didn't work. Hang on a second. It didn't work the way I wanted it to. Hang on a second. I was supposed to hit the message button. Dang. All right, hang on a second. Let me give you guys a different example. Why did that not work?
Are you trying to do the add to note?
Yeah.
Add note? It was there.
Yeah.
Oh, did I miss it?
Add note was there, yeah.
So when you clicked connect, it was there.
There we go.
There,
Okay.
add note.
There we go. Thank you. I totally missed it. When you're on your phone, it's a lot more difficult to be savvy with this. When you're on your computer, what I do is I have templates saved, which you guys have, and I copy and paste. So you'll find templates that work for you. So with Nikki, I might say, hi, Nikki. And you want to say that you have something in common. I see we have some common threads with Campbell and pharmacy, right? Curious, how are things for you in light of COVID? Okay, see how this is an open-ended question, but I'm creating some pleasantries. Curious, how are things in light of COVID as a retail pharmacist? Would love to add your energy to my feed. And then I might sign up Melissa. Okay, so what am I doing here? Number one, I'm saying, hey, I'm not just spamming you. Like, I looked at your profile. We're both pharmacists and we're both went to Campbell, right? The second thing I'm saying is I'm creating a call to action. I'm not just sending the message, hey, it'd be great to connect with you. I'm asking her a question. Hey, how are things in light of COVID as a retail pharmacist? You guys can say this with anything. So Courtney, hey, how are things with COVID, in light of being a teacher this summer? Like what are you guys looking to do next year? It opens Pandora's box. They're either going to share with you that they're thriving or they're surviving. It's amazing what people will unleash back to you that are active on this platform. And you'll see in my templates, I give you some examples of how to respond to that. So now I'm going to hit done. So again, the key is common thread, call to action, and some pleasantries. My goal here is, a lot of these pharmacists are brand new out of school. Their hours are being cut, and they're looking for an opportunity to make a secondary income stream, right? So you can do that with real estate. You can do it with nursing, teachers, whatever, lawyers. I've got a Monet attorney that was in my group last time, and she's really niched down to attorneys, moms and attorneys, and that's her thing. What other questions do you guys have, or any more questions about that? Yes, Stephanie?
My question was how to post my Monat business.
Yes, I had that written down. I was like, I need to talk about that and then go live. Yes. So you have a personal styling business, fashion styling, and then you also have a network marketing business. And so this question comes up a lot. And for the recording, the question also comes up if I'm in network marketing and I have a corporate job. How do I manage both and represent myself best? So Stephanie, my first question to you and to anyone would be, the first question is, can you actually, with your two businesses, it's always important to think, could they actually feed off of each other? And could one kind of feed the other? And if they can, you may want to keep the same LinkedIn page, right? If they're completely separate, you're going to confuse your audience. So for instance, if like I've got folks who are in real estate, who are actively recruiting business partners in real estate, but they're also in network marketing. And there's not a lot of overlap per se. So, my suggestion is have two accounts, because otherwise you're going to confuse your market from like a branding standpoint. However, what's important is that in network marketing, you're not just positioning yourself as a network marketer. So if you were to decide to go the route of having a one profile for Monet and one for the personal styling, you would still want to make sure, and we'll get into this in week 3, in the summary section, you want to validate that you are not just a Monet representative, right? Like that you actually have time freedom to do other things too, because that's like the number one thing people are looking for on LinkedIn is, do I have time to do what they're proposing that I do? Because the people who are really active on this platform are mostly working full-time somewhere. And maybe they want to slowly get out of what they're doing. Maybe they want to go try something new, but they need to know that you're not just solely doing this one thing, right? And they also tend to run from people who position themselves on the platform as network marketers, right? Like that's all you do. Does that make sense? So you would want to think out, like, I'm thinking like hair products and personal styling. Could one funnel into the other? Could you have
To focus on like beauty and
yes,
you know, and stuff.
perfect.
Because I also do like my makeup sometimes on videos, and I show how I style myself just to show, integrate it together.
Yeah. So I think the avatar work next week is going to be really helpful for you in thinking through your brand. And if you have this like overarching brand that everything can roll up into, right? So that in your, because I love that. I actually, especially if your avatar, if the people you're trying to recruit off of LinkedIn want to partner with you in Monet, like beauty has to be an aspect of something they're passionate about, right? It's kind of like my scout and seller representatives, like they very strongly position themselves as wine dealers because like their people aren't going to come into their business that don't like wine, right? It is residual income, but it's the same with Isagenix. People tend to position themselves in the health and wellness space because if you're not really passionate about health and wellness, you may or may not be really interested in like building a business around health and wellness, right? So I can see how that beauty brand like could be all encompassing. I am even right now in the process of rebranding myself, and it'll be called Burnout to All Out. And then my businesses underneath will be LinkedIn Coaching and Team Live the Free Life, which is my Isagenix team. And so on my LinkedIn board, you know, but that's still my theme. I went from burnout to all out entrepreneur, whether it's in Isagenix or in LinkedIn Coaching. They both fall under that umbrella. So those tie in nicely together, right?
Avatar for my personal styling is mom entrepreneurs. So I tried to make it so that it's similar.
Yeah. I think that you're on the right platform then, you know, like these busy, you're going to find a lot of really busy moms who aren't even necessarily entrepreneurs, but a lot of really busy corporate professionals who wish they had some style and don't have time to style themselves. And they're not spending a lot of time on Instagram or Facebook because they don't have the time to do it. But if you can get in their feed on LinkedIn because they're looking for like the next big move in their career, you might be able to really build a nice brand there, right? And some customer testimonials about how conveniently you've been able to get them snazzy and looking sharp with them having no time. I mean, that's me. I just don't have, you see me in my tank top right now. So it's cute though. You can't see it, but radiate love. Yeah. So Stephanie, I think that your two businesses, you can find a really nice way to overarch them together. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see where you land with all of this by the end of the 5 weeks, like what it really looks like at the end. That'd be cool to go through the next week and who you're trying to attract on LinkedIn. Okay. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap up? Because you got me. All good? I've got my call with our LinkedIn Pro course here in a couple minutes. Yeah, so just keep playing with your headlines and don't be afraid to start connecting with people. Just my biggest piece of advice this week is if you're going to start connecting, make sure that you're putting in the open-ended questions, right? Yes, Ogena?
Question.
Yeah.
When people try to connect to you, how do you respond to them?
Ooh, great question. I love when people ask to connect with me. And it's in the templates in week 5, you'll be able to download the templates, but I always ask people, I say, thanks for the request to connect. Okay. So when you accept the request, this is a great opportunity for that first touch. You need multiple touches in order to create rapport and create know, like, and trust, which you guys will learn about next week. So what I say is thanks for the request to connect. I'm always curious. What was it about my profile that piqued your curiosity, right? So, and if you've done the work to create curiosity in your profile, which we're doing this week, and we're going to be doing in week 3 with really your summary, they're going to let you know that they're curious about residual income. They're curious about your healthy hustle. They're curious about your beauty, your beauty business, like whatever your business is. If you've branded yourself properly and you start getting into action with putting content in your feed, which we'll also talk about during this training, you're going to have requests to connect, because people are going to see, like, what's your headline right now? Again, I know it creates curiosity. Let's see. Let me see. I can find you. Residual income coach, entrepreneur, right? Hands down, if you ask people who are requesting to connect with you, thanks for the request to connect. I'm just curious. What was it about my profile that piqued your curiosity to connect with me? And then I'll even say, regardless, I'm so glad to add your energy to my feed. Now that might be a little Melissa-ish. You know, you might want to say something else like, glad to expand my professional network with you, right? But you just want that open-ended question, because what they're going to say, Ogena, is, you know, I just found it cute. I find it really interesting that you're a pharmacist, but you're also an entrepreneur. I've been interested in kind of going that direction. You'll find, like, they'll give you leads to take you into the next piece of the conversation. And let me know when you get a response like that, because then I can help you go to the next step on the conversation. But it really is around, you know, yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. All right. Lastly, before we wrap up, if you do not have the function on your LinkedIn account to go live, which by the way has 5 times more views than a post, you need to apply right now, because they're in massive backlog for live. We posted in the group a while ago how to do it, the live application. I'll try to bump it to the top again. You're only really going to be able to tell if you can go live from your phone, because you can only go live on your phone. You can't go live on your computer. So if I go to LinkedIn, you guys probably aren't gonna be able to see this, but I have, see that little video camera up there at the very top? That's a live button. If you don't have that live button, I need you to apply for it now, because my students in my last class.
It's not just a video button?
Nope. There's a camera button and there's a video button. There should be 2 buttons. Yeah, see, you just have write a post. Yeah, Ogena just has write a post. You don't even have a camera button? Let me see. Hold that up again, Ogena. Oh, yeah.
Because I have a camera button, but it just takes a video. It's not live.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Where's my camera? Yeah, see? It just has a camera. When I click on it, it opens the video function.
I'm not sure.
Will it tell you if it's like live?
Yeah, it'll tell you if you're going live.
Before you click the red button?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm seeing the same thing, that I can open up. I have that, I open it up, and then there's like nothing telling me that it's live.
Yeah. We'll have to Google that. Yeah, I'll pull up the information on how to request for that. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I am going to wrap up. I got a couple minutes before my next training for the pro course, but you guys keep up the great work. And I'm excited for the avatar work you guys can be doing next week. I have a guest speaker who's going to be coming in next week and speaking to you guys on Thursday. Her name is Julie Ciardi, and she is a marketing maven. She's a top income earner for 2 different network marketing companies, and now has her own marketing agency on personal branding. And actually, a lot of the content that you guys are getting in your training next week, I actually got from her training. And I thought, like, what better way to like scratch the surface on marketing and branding yourself than to hear from the marketing expert. So she was an IBM marketing VP before becoming a network marketing expert. So she has that marketing background. And so she'll be coming in around lunchtime during our time next week. She'll come in as our guest speaker on marketing. She's incredible. You guys will enjoy her a lot. All right, guys. Well, have a good afternoon. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for that.